Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 3, roll call.
Crenshaw,
Here.
Altai, Garcia, Altmans,
Here.
Allenthal, Andrews,
Here.
Tillman,
Here.
Bryant,
Here.
Greenwald.
Here.
2 absent, 7 present.
Item number 4, Mayor's Correspondence. Tomorrow night, Friday, November 4th, is another First Friday here in Keokuk from 4 to 8 on Main Street, and all the businesses will be collecting non-perishable items of whatever you can drop off in preparation for the food pantries for the coming holiday season. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds will be having a meet and greet at the Southside Boat Club on 625 Mississippi River Drive, starting at 5:30 p.m. Saturday, November 5th, we have the Great River Players are presenting a play called 1984, and in their building at 17 South 6th. The Saturday show is at 7:30, and the Sunday show is at 2 o'clock, and it's $15 for a ticket. Sunday, November 6th, the Keokuk Hamilton Dam Museum will be open at 3:15 p.m. with their fundraiser auction starting at 4 o'clock. There's lots of auction items and refreshments, and that's at 429 Main. Then on Wednesday, November 9th, in honor of our veterans, the Southside Boat Club and Raylene's Tacos will be serving 2 free tacos and 1 free drink to all veterans. That's from 4 o'clock till however long it lasts. Also, check your public with your public library website or stop by and pick up a calendar. Their November calendar is out, and there's lots of fun things for adults as well as kids. Shop, eat, drink, listen, read, and support local Keokuk. Be part of the solution, not just part of the problem. And then last but not least, next Friday, November 11th, we at City Hall of Keokuk would like to give a shout out to all the veterans and those still serving, as well as all their families. A huge thank you for all their service. Please check out your favorite businesses in our town for all the meals and discounts in our town that you can receive. They are a heartfelt thank you for all of you for what you have sacrificed for us and for our freedom. Item number 5, citizens' request. Okay, nobody wants to come up and talk to us apparently today. Okay, item number 6, consent agenda. Minutes of the regular city council meeting and council workshop of October 20th, 2022. Minutes of the safety committee meeting of October 20th, 2022. Cash receipts and treasurer's report for September 2022. Resolution approving a liquor license for Dr. Getwell's Bar and Grill, 1100 Main Street, effective November 24th, 2022. Class C liquor license with Sunday service, pending fire inspection. Approving urban revitalization tax exemption for Jonathan and Justina Mortimer at 3372 Middle Road, 30-foot by 40-foot garage, and a motion to pay the bills and transfers listed in the registrar's office 5304 through 5306. Motion to approve the agenda, including the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Item number 7, under old business, motion to remove from the table a motion approving the second reading of amending ordinance number 2018, granting to Interstate Power and Light Company, its successors and assigns a non-exclusive 25-year franchise to acquire, construct, erect, maintain, and operate an electric system in the city of Keokuk, Iowa, and to furnish and sell electric energy to the city and its inhabitants, and requiring said company to pay a franchise fees to the city. Motion to approve the second reading. Motion to
Remove from the table.
remove from the table.
So moved.
Second.
On August 6th, the City Council passed the Revenue Purpose Statement, which set a public hearing for August 20th on the proposed electric franchise fee. Both the RPS and the hearing notice were to be published in accordance with Iowa Code. However, the RPS was inadvertently left out of the publication. This requires the city to publish the RPS and hold a new public hearing. Additionally, a revised ordinance setting the franchise fee at 3% for all users, and then with a rebate program of up to 1.5% to tax-exempt users would be proposed at the November 17th meeting. Staff was advised by legal counsel that rather than amending the ordinance again, the ordinance should start at the first reading. This would push the effective date of the franchise fee to February 1, 2023. Alliant has agreed to waive the January 1st start date, and the packet did have a letter attached from Alliant stating such. The current amended ordinance should be removed from the table, which has been done. A motion made to approve the second reading and a vote in the negative for approval. So motion to approve the second reading, and then everybody say nay,
And then we start all over.
and then start all over.
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
You need a roll call.
I need a roll call.
Crenshaw,
No.
Garcia,
No.
Altman's,
No.
Andrews,
No.
Tillman,
No.
Bryant,
No.
Greenwald.
No.
Motion fails. New business. Item number 8, now is the time and place for the public hearing on the submission of the U.S. EPA Brownfield grant application. A public hearing notice was published on Thursday, October 27th, 2022. I'm opening the public hearing at 5:37 p.m.
The city of Keokuk is considering submitting a U.S. EPA Brownfield cleanup grant application. The cleanup grant would be used to remove asbestos-containing materials and contaminated soil from the approximate 7.5 acres of the most northern central portion, also known as the redevelopment Plat 1 of the former Carbide property located at 365 Carbide Lane. Prior to the action, public hearing must be held. And if anybody would like to examine that application, that large stack of paper sitting over there on the table is it. It took almost a half a ream of paper to print that sucker off. So, in doing this, we are sectioning off the front portion of the property, hoping to maximize the number of grants that we can receive, because they have capped them at $2 million. If we did the whole property at once, it would be $2 million for the whole property. So staff will be coming back at a later date, because we'll need to go through the subdivision feature or process in order to subdivide that first section into 6 lots so that we can clean up that area first and then start sectioning off the other sections for additional grants.
Any further discussion? Deputy City Clerk, any written comments or objections have been received?
No.
With no further comments and no further objections, I will close the public hearing at 5:38 p.m. 8B, consider resolution approving the filing of the grant application through the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, for brownfield cleanup grant funding in the amount of $2 million. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Item number 9, motion to approve initial reading of ordinance repealing section 20.60.0306 fences and adopting in a new section 20.60.0306 fences. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
The city of Keokuk received a petition to amend the fence code, and that was mainly for the height in industrial districts. I felt at that time that it would be a good time to review the fence ordinance and make some changes to it where we've had problems before. So main changes in the ordinance is permit fees that would be set by resolution. Materials, there's a couple general requirements that were changed. Special fencing requirements for swimming pools is called out. And then as far as industrial zone districts, a maximum of height of 10 feet and 1 foot of barbed wire is allowed above the top line. So them are pretty much the changes in that code. So we're repealing what's there and we are adopting a new code. This would be the first reading.
Pam, what kind of language was used for the front yard fences after our discussion at the public hearing?
We just went ahead and indicated that the front yard fences could not be above 4 feet, and they could not, we didn't change that. It's just front yard that is no more than 75% solid or opaque. Clear vision must not be completely obstructed by such fence. So that was what's in the original ordinance, and that's what is continued to be in the ordinance.
Any further discussion? I'll need a roll call.
Crenshaw. Aye. Garcia.
Aye.
Altman's.
Aye.
Andrews. Tillman.
Aye.
Bryant.
Aye.
Greenwald.
Aye.
Do I have a motion to waive the second and third reading of this ordinance? Any discussion? Okay. Item number 10, consider resolution setting a public hearing on the implementation of franchise fees on the electric utility services. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Due to a publication error on the revenue purpose statement and additional changes to the electric franchise ordinance, a second public hearing on the revised ordinance is necessary. Staff recommends November 17th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Item number 11, consider resolution setting policy on personnel hiring. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
As discussed at at a workshop, staff is requesting the council to pass a resolution stating the following policy. All positions within the city of Keokuk shall be reviewed annually as part of the annual budget process to determine appropriate staffing levels necessary for effective and efficient delivery of services to the citizens of Keokuk, Iowa. Any position approved as part of the budget process that become vacant during the fiscal year shall be filled at the earliest opportunity unless otherwise directed by the city council.
I missed the workshop, but I know during the meeting we had, I guess I'm just confused by the otherwise directed by the city council, almost implying like we would, they still are not bringing forth the hiring, correct? In the middle of the year.
The reason why the otherwise directed is in there is because circumstances can change. Unless the council says otherwise, we just can continue moving on. It's in there. You always have to have some sort of contingency in there, and if something changes in the middle year that creates a situation where we can't hire, the council needs to have the ability to be able to say otherwise.
It just wasn't discussed during our meeting, was why I was asking.
I thought I copied the same language over from.
No, in our meeting, we didn't have an ordinance at the public safety meeting that we discussed it at.
I just copied the language over from what was at the workshop.
I think it does, it is important that the city council has a method to, mid-year, put a freeze on if need be. But I also think that it needs to be laid out what that method is, or just an understanding of what that method is. Because the intention of this is so that the department heads know that if they've got 10 positions budgeted for, they can go ahead and fill 10 positions if they have layoffs or retirements or any changes in that regard. So with the earliest opportunity otherwise directed by the city council. I don't know, is that redundant to be in the policy? Because at any time, we always have the ability to preemptively.
That's how I felt, like it was a little bit of another, like a moot point.
So then would we want to make an amendment to the motion to just strike that last sentence?
That'd be my vote. Well, and it's reviewed annually. We look at it every year. So, and, you know, and I guess if you, for me personally, we have to trust our department heads. If they know for a fact, you know, they've got 3 people that leave and now hiring 3 more people is going to put us in a real crunch. I don't think any of them are going to just go do that just to throw money away, you know, but since we're already reviewing it every year at the annual budget, I'm the same way. I think that last, unless otherwise directed by the city council, that don't need to be in there because we already look at it every year. And truth be told, we could put a hiring freeze across the board if it so ever got to that state. But this here, my concern with this wording is all of a sudden now one of the department heads ends up in a fit with a couple of council members, and now you got this bickering going on, and they see an opportunity. Hey, we can get back at him. We can just say, hey, we don't want to do this. And I don't foresee that happening, but this creates that possibility. And so I would rather just look at it once a year and approve it as a budget and then move forward in that. Because if it ever got bad enough through the year that we needed to change it, the council would put a freeze on everything anyway.
The way I look at it is that the council does need to retain the ability that at any time they can say, we cannot hire for reasons. But the purpose of this policy is so that department heads don't have to keep bringing everything back to the council. So where's that middle ground where department heads can do what we've entrusted them to do, but we still retain a little bit of security? And so the way I view that is that at any point in time, we as a council can be proactive and say, hey, we know things are happening and we're not in a good place. We need to not fill that. And I think the importance is that we're being proactive about it and saying we need to have the conversation before the hiring process is started, as opposed to after the hiring process is started. So I don't know. That's kind of the balance that I see there. Does that make sense?
My only thought there is we are then going back to the fact that they would need to come forward every hiring.
But that's not necessarily. It just means that we've got the ability to put a hiring freeze on at any time.
Yes.
Yay or nay? Yes.
Which is why I think that last line is,
So if we can at any time put a hiring freeze, then we can take that last half sentence out because that's already existing. And so department heads know, are we in a freeze? Yes or no? And then they can act accordingly.
that's how I felt as well, because this would mean that at some point we could have already hired someone and council wouldn't know, and then we are behind the ball again.
And we want to avoid that.
Yeah.
So then I would make the motion to modify item 11 to read that all positions within the city of Keokuk shall be reviewed annually as part of the annual budget process to determine appropriate staffing levels necessary to and for effective and efficient delivery of services to the citizens of the city of Keokuk, Iowa. Any position approved as part of the budget process that becomes vacant during the fiscal year shall be filled at the earliest opportunity.
A second.
We must have, if we have a hiring freeze, if we hire at present numbers, okay, I'm all right. But if somebody retires, quits, whatever, and to go down, I'm not really in favor of putting the new numbers down lower than they are, especially in public safety and police and fire.
So that would be the conversation if the topic of a freeze came up. That wouldn't be the conversation for this policy then. That'd be the conversation for that future potential if we ever had to issue a freeze.
Well, that thing, if somebody retires, and then we've got to go into discussions about
If we pass this, we don't. They retire, they just replace the person.
replace up
We
to
strike
the,
out that
Yeah.
last few words. And they can just do it.
So I have a clarifying question. Is if we keep in the unless otherwise directed by the city council, that doesn't change anything in the process.
Why do we want it there?
Just so that it's not strictly saying that we don't have that opportunity.
Been there before, don't need to be there now.
Because it's the same if you read it with or without that, unless otherwise directed by the city council, the same process goes about. They don't have to come to us to have an approval or not.
Well, my concern with this wording is if we was to decide we needed a hiring freeze, that'd be across the board. It wouldn't be, well, okay, water or not water, street department, we're just not gonna let them hire.
You have that direction when you have that
But
conversation.
if we do a hiring freeze, it's across the board. What this would do would give us the opportunity, if we wanted to pick and choose. And that's what I don't want us to do. If we're going to say, okay, we've got a budget crunch, we've got some money issues, and we have a hiring freeze, then it can't be, then that means it's dire enough, it's across the board.
No,
We leave
that is
this
not what a
in.
hiring freeze means.
If
What a
we
hiring
leave
freeze
this
is
in here.
you have a conversation when you have a hiring freeze as to what does that hiring freeze entail.
Well, if we leave this in here, though, street can come, say, we need one. No, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Somebody else, a different department come in, yeah, they'll go ahead and hire. That's why I'm not in agreement with leaving that last wording in there, because that opens it up. Every time a spot becomes vacant, somebody on the council can say, hey, I don't really know if we want to fill that. So then, all the while we're discussing that,
We can
they're
do that no
without
matter
that
what.
person. No, we don't.
Okay.
That's, if this is passed without that, we don't.
Okay, so at this present time, we have an amendment on the original motion. So do you want to read that again for us?
As presented, then putting the period at the end after shall be filled at the earliest opportunity. So it scratches from as presented unless otherwise directed by the city council.
So do I have a motion
Yeah, you do. You have a motion.
So move.
You had a motion.
and a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Then we need to go back to the original,
Now you have the amended motion to vote on.
and we have a first and a second on that.
Correct.
So no more discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Item number 12, consider resolution approving sixth modification agreement to convertible promissory note between Amjet Turbine Systems LLC and Lee County Economic Development Group, Inc. Do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Okay, Mr. Ruse with Amjet is requesting an additional one-year extension on the $200,000 convertible loan. As a reminder, the city loaned $200,000 through Lee County Economic Development to Amjet. This is the sixth modification extending the loan an additional 1 year. And Mr. Ruse is present to provide additional information and answer questions.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mr. Donald, City Council. In 2009 or 2010, I think, our business was started with a $200,000 loan from the city of Keokuk. So, and the intent was to design and build a unit, which was done with those funds, and then have it built and tested, which was funded by the state of Iowa. And then we had planned to install it on the Keokuk Dam to test it on an actual dam situation. What happened, in fact, is that they were not willing, that Ameren was not willing to do that, and at the time. And finally, after more than 10 years of discussion, they've last year agreed to do that, and they've agreed to do it with a lot of support. And so right now the unit is being installed, and I have some pictures here to show you what the installation looks like. And I am inviting you to come to the official startup and opening, which would probably be at the end of November, when the unit is in operation. So I will keep you informed as to what it is. I would like to pass out that you can maybe pass among yourselves, because I only have 3 copies. The first steps in the installation of the unit, the first 3 pictures show it being launched at the top and then halfway down, and at the end in its location down the dam. It is, you may recognize the arch, which is part of one of the 119 bays. It's bay 27 of the 119 bays that are there. And it was amazingly so, we had a different location before. Amazingly so, they finally decided to put it on a gate, and the cost of doing that is considerably more than our original plan. And so we appreciate that Ameren is supporting us in this effort. The final goal of Ameren now is to eventually install our large unit, the ATS-63, which is basic this, but which the ATS-8, which is what this one is to be seeing installed, was the prototype for and the scale model for. So, so there is intent beyond just testing this unit on the part of Ameren. So that is the story. And the last picture is basically is the other part of the turbine, which is the control console, which is where the electronics are. That also will be placed on the dam, and so if any questions you may have, I'll be glad to answer.
Have you received any funding from other counties or municipalities in the state of Iowa? And if so, have you paid back those loans?
We've in 2010, I think we received a loan from the state, or not a loan, a grant from the state to test the unit, and and subsequently there were there's another $100,000 support on top of that that was also issued by the state. And beyond that, we have basically received federal funds, but no other funds from within the state.
But at the county level or municipality level?
I'm sorry?
At the county level or municipality, so city? Have you received any loans?
Oh, no.
I thought you had one from Lee County, that you received funding from, didn't Lee County?
Well, the loan that we're talking about was routed through Lee County because at the time it was not possible to do it direct via the city. So the city loaned the money to Lee County, and Lee County loaned the money to us.
Okay, Who's paying the interest on this loan?
I'm sorry?
Who's paying the interest on this loan?
Well, the company will pay the interest.
Who's been paying the interest currently in the since
have
2009?
not
The
paid any
interest hasn't been paid. It's just been accumulating.
So how much is the loan for at this point?
I don't have the present calculations, but, we adjusted the interest rate back down to, I think, down to 1%,
Oh, yes.
1% retroactive. But I don't have the current calculations.
Have any payments been made?
No payments have been
No.
made. It was a one-time balloon with interest and everything at the end.
Are we supposed to be paid literally or with equity because it's a convertible loan?
It could be converted into equity, but I believe that was removed in a previous modification. It is cash coming back.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
I would ask for a roll call.
We'll have to have a roll call.
Crenshaw,
No.
Garcia,
No.
No.
Altman, Andrews, Tillman,
Yes.
Bryant,
Yes.
Greenwald.
Yes.
Passes 4-3.
Got your extension. I'll send the paperwork.
I'm sorry? Okay, great. Thank you.
Item number 13, motion to approve resignation of Public Works Director Robert Hellenthal.
Public Works Director Hellenthal has submitted his resignation effective November 4th, 2022. Council needs to vote to accept the resignation. Staff has begun the recruitment process and hope to have his replacement hired after the first of the year. I've asked him that. I think he just said he's just not going to show up.
First of all, I want to thank the city of Keokuk for the opportunity to work here. I've enjoyed my time here. I'm not going to tell you that some days haven't been more stressful than others, but overall, my experience working for the city has been a great one. When I started with the city, I started just as a department manager, and the opening came, and you always, you always look to achieve something higher than where you're at. That's most people's goal in life, and so that's kind of where I was at. I did not really anticipate getting the job, just due to my background. After some conversations with city staff, it was kind of confirmed that maybe I should. So I did. One of the first things that I looked at when I came to work for the city is I was just like some of these other people in this town that want to complain about how the city does things, why we do things, and how bad things are. Well, if you just turn your TV on and you can see how bad things are around us compared to what we have here. We might have bad streets. We might have minor things that people want to complain about, but we've got a good town, and that's the reason I took the job. Right off the get-go, there was something that I felt the city could do different, and in working with Cole and some other city staff, probably my first week here, we saved over $1 million at the North Landfill, and I'm proud of that accomplishment. I wasn't here with the city very long, 3.5 years roughly is where I was here, but I'm proud of that. And so I think that my time, short-lived as it was, I'm happy that I did make a change. The next thing I'd like to say, is that everything that I was able to do while I was here, whether somebody agreed or disagreed with it, I made the best decision that I felt was for the city, not my own personal feeling, not because where you lived, what your last name was, or any other agenda. I made a decision because I felt it was the best. I worked with some great people here. Um, a lot, I learned a lot. And I was not able to accomplish any of the things that I did without the help of somebody else within the city. The other department heads, nobody ever, when I went to them and said, what's your thoughts? Where do I find this? Nobody told me no. Nobody said, go figure it out yourself. Whether it was how to find something in the computer or look up an ordinance. There was times I called the fire department, I called the police department, I called water treatment for something, Pam, everybody. And most of all, I had a secretary that was very patient. And I did have a city administrator who was very patient. I can't tell you how many times I walked into his office, hey, I got something I need to ask you. And never did I get the attitude that I'm not going to help you. So that being said, as the city goes forward, I hope that we look for the strong points in somebody and not the weak points. Everybody's got something that they're not good at. Everybody's got a weak spot somewhere in them. Try to find the strong suits or traits that person has and see what we can do with it. I'm not going anywhere. I'm taking a job that I feel is going to hopefully simplify my life, and that's the reason I'm leaving Keokuk. I have no hard feelings, no issues whatsoever. This is just a personal choice that I'm going to make, and I'm going to miss working here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Now we need a motion to approve.
No, I don't think.
No, we didn't.
Oh, okay.
We need a
moved.
motion to approve.
Regretfully second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye,
All opposed.
with regret.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
I've been here 8 months and you're done a fantastic job. Absolutely fantastic job. Thank you. Okay. Item number 14, boards and commissions.
You have one final notification for Parks and Rec Advisory Board, Monica Winkler and Mike Greenslaw. Monica's term to expire is 11/2/2025, and Mike Greenslaw's term to expire is 11/2/2025. There is a misprint on the screen. Second notification for Rand Park Pavilion Commission, Civil Service Commission, first notification. You do have a vote on for a Mayor Oil appointment to the Keokuk Municipal Waterworks, Raymond Long, with term to expire 11/1/2028. We can accept that as an omnibus motion for the three that we need to take a vote on.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, item number 15, council liaison reports.
Great River Regional Waste, if you'll see, I passed out a paper here that says General Manager's Report. That's what we get. He gives a report every month. It puts on Keokuk Recycling Day. A door was struck, and who GFL is, I do not know. So, Keokuk Sanitation Department truck struck an awning. I don't think it was all that bad, but it happens. Had a small fire on the landfill. I think it was from an artificial sweetener from an industry. And it goes on. Fort Mass again excavating clay in the marina for the marina. Compactor broke down. Just the monthly stuff that goes on up there, and that we have a meeting third Friday of every month, 6:30 in the morning. So, any questions anybody like to ask? They are opening up a new cell And they had, one of their other cells has compacted down enough that they have 3 foot of room so they can go back and fill it back up. And now I just talked with the general manager today, and the latest estimate is that there's 140 years worth of ground up there to dump our stuff in. So
Just a note, I know it seems picky, but if you would ask them the next time they send us one, if they could send it on letterhead or something, so we know where it's from.
do what?
Send it on like letterhead or something, so we know where it's from.
Oh, okay.
I know that sounds picky, but
I'll put it on there.
thank you.
Mhm. Like I said, this is the only second one that only the second report that I've heard about Great River raising their waste in 23 years. So it's something new.
Thank you. Any more reports?
The Road of Honor Committee is getting ready for Veterans Day, like you said, so we'll be gearing up to do things like with Hy-Vee and the South Side and the Yacht Club and, oh, who else?
There's a lot. I think I saw Get Wells in the paper.
So there's a lot of local businesses that will be doing things for veterans. So we're excited about that. And then the signage in the cemetery, it's a smaller group. We are almost ready to submit the grant for the signage for historians that are buried in Oakland Cemetery.
Also, the veterans have their celebration at the memorial in the cemetery, in Oakland Cemetery, Friday, the 11th, Veterans Day at 11 o'clock. The 11th, on the 11th at 11 o'clock. So that's a great thing, and it's a humbling experience to attend. Okay, item number 16, staff reports.
So I've got the 600 block Main Street project, the RFP resubmitted. The pilot program grant was submitted, planning grant was submitted. I spoke with Zach from Regional Planning to determine what information they would need to begin the process for the update on the rezoning. As you probably noticed, the vacant property registration was not on the agenda, and I apologize for that. I am fussing with language on uninsured property. I think I have that. I'll read it and you guys can tell me what you think, but I think financial surety, any uninsured property shall be secured by filing a surety instrument in the form of a bond, escrow account, bank letter of credit, or other equally acceptable financial instrument as determined by, I have the city council down there. I don't know if that needs to be changed, but the amount of the financial instrument shall be equal to the cost of 2 times the assessed value with a minimum of at least 20,000 for residential and 50,000 for commercial. I thought that might work better than just saying an escrow or bond. Also, okay. And I
Sounds
also,
better.
the Airbnb, after reviewing that after our last discussion, I don't really think that that type of use will fall under the definition of a vacant building. It's going to have utilities, which is one of the requirements for vacant buildings. So I felt like that really didn't even need to be included. So I will guarantee it will be on next agenda. Oh, and the City Hall gals participated in the Main Street Trick or Treat, and we had a good time.
And
Thank
what a
you.
fantastic day that was for Keokuk. I bet there were 300 kids and their parents. It was just really nice.
I was like, oh. It was a great event.
I failed to thank my department managers that I work with every day when I was up there a minute ago, and I'm going to miss working with those guys. So I wanted to say thank you to them also. I got several things. We're going through the meeting here pretty quick, and I've sat through a lot of long meetings, so I kind of want to drag this one out a little longer, make it my last one. So I'm going to give you a whole list of things here to think about. First of all, K-Play came to the park board meeting on Tuesday. They've raised some funds. K-Play is the organization that's put the Bentley's playground equipment in and put the splash pad in. We've already, in the short amount of time that the splash pad's been there, had some vandalism. It's not been anything too serious, but it's something that is a concern. They would like to put an 8-foot tall, I believe that was the height of it. I did not bring my note on that, but fence around the splash pad, and they will raise the funds and install it. Is there any opposition from the council on that? The park board recommended allowing it.
What type of fence?
It'll be like I believe it was a like wrought iron type fence, not a chain link fence. It'll be something that'll be a decorative type fence that will complement the splash pad. But what it will allow is the splash pad to be closed when it's not in the normal operation hours. We've had bicycles that have been on there. We've had a couple of the water features. They've tried to unbolt them and actually take them.
Do you have pictures from anywhere else that has something like that around theirs?
I think some of them do. I can pass that information along to them and ask them to bring that. It's not something that they're going to install in the next 2 months. You know, it'd be spring or summer before it was even installed. So I will take that back.
It'd be nice to see like a rendering at least or something, what it would look like, because
Okay.
it might look really.
I'll probably get a hold of their organization and ask them to come to a council meeting here in the near future and just give a little more of a presentation to you and so you can understand a little more what they're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Check
And
with the city of Ames. I know that like their splash pad has a fence around it, but that one may be, if I'm thinking correctly, maybe a chain link, but check with them because I know that last time that I was in the park where it was opened at a certain time and closed at a certain time, so.
And I know she has more information than what I'm giving you, and I apologize for that.
You'll pass that along to somebody.
The gate, that's the idea, but the gate would close when the park closes, so it does not allow somebody to continue to go in there. And so, yes, I will, I know that this group actually went to other splash pads and looked to see what they had. So they have that information.
Do you know if any of the part of the splash pad is taken down in the winter? So people, any parts, like the turtles, do they stay there
They stay there all year.
long?
There's hoses and different apparatus connected to that. So we do go take different components out of it. But the overall water features themselves, they stay there. The other thing that K-Play had came with was that they want to put a restroom, handicap accessible, just one restroom, not a men and a women, just a unisex restroom there that would also have a changing area in it. And it would be, well, let's just say the north end of the old skating rink that's there. Is there anybody opposed to that? It would, the city would probably have some in-kind work that they would do, have minor expense maybe as far as hooking the sewer up or helping with the water line or something along those lines. But the actual construction of the restroom itself would be by donations. Right now, we use porta potties every year, so it would be kind of a nice addition to have that out there. And it would be something that somebody would be able to go in and change into dry clothes or put clothes on that they could go with the splash pad. And so I just wanted to see if there was any opposition to that. Before it's built, you'll have some kind of a drawing that you'll look at too. All this is next spring. They're just wanting to make sure that the city council is okay with doing this before they continue on with their fundraising and looking at options and what they can do. The next item I have is the bridge repair that we had discussed a couple meetings ago has been completed. Bob worked closely with the company that came. They removed the shaft and the bearing. The shaft was okay, so we did not have any additional expense. I had given you a number, and it was around 15.5 is what the total cost of that ended up being. And that was the low end, and that's what we was hoping for, and that's where we came in at. You know, the bridge is old and things have a lot of wear and play on them. So, you know, this item's fixed. We don't see any other issues right now, but just be aware, you know, that the bridge is 100 years old, give or take. But all that went well, and the bridge is back in operation, and it was only down 2 days. And so that was a pretty quick turnaround. They did a fantastic job. I'd also talked about some undermining of some gabion baskets, and I sent some pictures on your emails today just to kind of let you understand what that was. That's all been taken care of. That was all done in-house. We had 4 loads of rock in there, so we probably had less than $800 in repairs. And so I think that was a testament to the employees here. It was all done, like I said, with current city help. The last thing I have, this is kind of the big one. ITC contacted the city. They are ready to do phase 2 of their pole replacement upgrade. Phase 1 was along Hazelhurst and Messenger Road. This phase will start, you could say, from the upriver end of the yacht club and travel down to roughly 3rd and Franklin. 2018, a spatial use permit was granted to ITC for this project. It was delayed due to negotiations with the railroad, and I believe negotiations with the city due to the storm sewer separation that we had anticipated doing that's now on being delayed. So they're ready to move forward with that. The biggest obstacle that we have right now, and I've worked with John and Jason, and we've tried to determine which would be their best route. I'm giving the city council the 2 routes that we have come up with. If somebody has a better route or something else they want staff to look at, they need to bring that up. ITC is wanting to start on this in the spring. They anticipate the project running, I believe, from April through November. This will be hundreds of trucks will travel to and from this site. And when I say hundreds, I mean, I'm going to tell you 200 is going to be on the light side, and I could see it. I'm just guessing, and this did not come from ITC. It's just from my own personal experience. I could see it being 1,000 trips of trucks up through there by the time this is all said and done. So in that email, you know, they are wanting an answer sooner than later on which route we wanted to go with. And once a route's determined, then city staff will have to go back and modify the original road agreement that we had for the first phase. There will need to be some changes made as far as the amount of money that we're asking them to put into a bond to cover the city's cost. My recommendation is on this also in that, and Cole's been, and John and Jason also been involved in this, that whether there's road damage or not, I feel whatever route they take, we should do a mill and fill project on that section of road once they're done, because you will have an impact on that road with the amount of loads and the weight that's going to go up and down it. It will stress that road. There's no question in my mind. So 17th Street was the first route that we looked at, North 17th, traveling from Main Street to the bluff at River Road. They will be going down River Road to where there's a gap in the guardrail, and that's how they'll come into that site. There will be a period of about 6 weeks where River Road will be down to 1 lane. You also have to keep in mind this project is going to be going the same time that the bridge deck replacement over Prices Creek, just north of Athens Avenue. These 2 projects will coincide with one another. We did kind of look at coming in Airport Road and coming up River Road for an access road, but with that project starting at the same time, it's not going to work out very good. 17th Street, the 2 drawbacks the two biggest drawbacks that we could see with it. You have a school and you have the park, you know, that you're going to be going past. It was the straightest shot, but and it was discussed with ITC that if that was the route that was chosen, that they would have to adjust their schedule to allow for the school start and stop times each day. The other route that we looked at was North 13th. You would travel from Main Street to Grand. From Grand, you would go 2 blocks up to 15th, and then you would go around the end of Grand Park, and then they would still enter the same spot. I don't know that council wants to give a recommendation tonight, but by the next council meeting, I would anticipate that something will need to be, you know, brought forth. The reason I feel that staff shouldn't be making this decision all on their own, because no matter what route we take, whether it's down Grand Avenue or up 17th, that it will impact a lot of neighborhoods, and I think it's a big decision that's being made here. So,
Robert, are these going to be the same metal poles that have been installed along
Yes.
Messenger?
yes. We did get the drawings yesterday. We got the updated drawings that they have. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 12th and Grand, I think that'd be where Logan's, just downriver of Daniel and Julia Logan's house. It goes underground from there to roughly down to the end of 3rd and Franklin. Don't quote me to that, you know exactly where it's at, but that part of it is underground, and that's highly unusual for this type of, this large of a electrical line to be buried. But they felt that what it was going to take to build retaining walls, to have an access road and everything that was involved in it, that was the best option. So the electrical line that will be buried will be encased in concrete. It'll be encased in concrete. So,
I'm not a fan of those big metal poles being in Rand Park.
what's that?
I'm not a fan of the big poles being in the park.
Over the bluff you're talking about from the park?
Well, will they be actually running along the park?
No, everything is going to be down along the railroad tracks.
Down the bluff.
Right along the railroad, on the railroad tracks where they currently are.
Yeah.
So it'll be underground then when it's,
Yeah, this route that we're talking about is just for the trucks. The poles themselves will be along the railroad
oh,
area.
those are just the truck routes we're discussing.
This is just
not
the truck route to get the,
Okay,
the-
okay,
yeah,
all
the-
right, thank you.
the poles will be in the same general area as where the wooden ones are, or whatever they have down there now, whatever type of pole. The pole location's not moving. The height will increase with these. And I think a lot of that, Pam maybe can answer a little bit of that if I'm saying this wrong, but has to do with state and federal guidelines as far as the voltage and how high it is. And by using the metal poles, it allows, the poles don't have to be replaced near as often. Wind, ice, all the other, so.
The truck route, I was going to say, when you think at it, you want to sort of think about how many less turns can they take? If these are going to be pretty large pieces, and think 17th makes sense just because of the less turns. But I understand if you work with the school districts at Torrance preschool, there's 3 times a day that they have that drop-off pickup.
And my thought on the school, if 17th Street was the street to go with, would be to work with the school and maybe put the pickup on the other side of the school or do something along those lines. But, until we have a definite route, I have not really spoken with the school too much. I did a year ago when this was first brought to me. I had a short discussion with Dave Grogan.
I'm assuming, do they have to inform us when they're moving them because they're oversized loads? Or do they have to tell the city if they're going to be bringing the poles in because they're oversized loads, or is that just something that they'll do when they need to do it?
They have to notify the state and have a permit from the state, but we don't require anything once they come into town.
Okay.
What we will do is, and that's the reason I'm asking the council's opinion, on which route to go. once we give them a route, they will be held to that route. They will not venture off that route. And, you know, we, in the previous road maintenance agreement that we had with them, we had stipulations in there as what would take place if they did start traveling another road. Most of these trucks are going to be, of a tandem nature, which is the same as what they use on this last project. But I would anticipate when the poles come in, you're going to have a much larger truck. You're going to have cranes that are going to have to come in. I mean, the amount of equipment that's going to come in here is going to be, it's going to be big. This job, to me, in my opinion, would be very similar to what we would have seen if we was to do the sewer separation. If we was to do the tunnel project, I'd say that this would be very similar to that.
Okay.
And so that's how I based what I think that the amount of traffic will be, is kind of understanding what that project would have took. So
That stretch of Grand there, that's relatively new.
it is,
concrete
and it is
construction.
9 inches thick. So Grand Avenue, I do not see it having any impact on the roadway itself. The impact would be the neighborhood. And it would be the turning. So if you was to go with the North 13th option, in my opinion, we should put temporary no parking up there where 13th intersects with Grand Avenue to allow for those trucks, because you'll have trucks passing, you'll have one going one direction, another one coming another direction. So several things to look at, like I said, my suggestion, that's the reason this just got brought to me this week. So, I mean, I just got it, and kind of the urgency for me to get it to the council was for any of you that want to go drive it, go drive the same route. We drove up and down. I've had John and Jason spend several parts of their day, and I said, just go see what you think's the best route also. So, I mean, we've looked at it for quite a while, and 13th, the kind of the thought behind 13th was that road is in pretty good shape. It seems like it's held up well. Yes, this will impact that, but they will have to fix that. But whatever roads you put them on, as their project goes on, people are going to have to anticipate you might have gravel. You might, in small areas, kind of like we did on Hazelhurst. So, Blondo, that was part of this. I'll explain that, I guess, a little bit too, on when we talk about North 17th. So they would enter on 17th and go towards Ram Park. Coming back, the trucks, when they got to Blondo Street and block off Main, they would turn right and go over to 18th so that they would have a stoplight to get back onto Main Street. If we was to try to have all those trucks entering back on 17th Street, I think we would have constant issues there.
13th, you might even have to do no parking on one side further down. I mean, there are times when my Yukon can't even get through, so.
There's pros and cons to, like I said, every street we looked at, there was something that we said, well, what about this? So, like I said, I think the staff needs more input from the council to try to help us come up with the best option.
How many poles you talking about?
18 or 19, I'm thinking.
And they come in how many sections? I mean, they don't come in just one
Well,
pole. I mean,
each pole varies. So some of them will be 85 feet tall. Some of them could be 114 feet tall.
And they'll come that way down the street, or?
No, they'll come, some of them will be 2 sections, 3 sections, 4 sections, I mean, it's just all going to depend. I think part of it, the engineer, I'm sure when they design it, depending on how far they have to travel to get that pole in there, whatever piece of equipment's got to get it there is going to have to be able to handle it. So that'll dictate the size.
Well, 17th would probably be the best outside of the school.
Yes.
It'd be the most direct route, I think. Look at the map you sent. If we run them on down to 13th, you're adding that much more. You're tying up more time. Potentially, you're using up more road. I'm with Roger on that. The shortest distance between 2 lines is a straight point, is a straight line, and 17th is the most direct route. And most of these trucks, minus the semis bringing them in, aren't going to be a whole lot different than, like you said, our trash trucks, our fire trucks or city trucks.
Yes and no. I mean, you're right. The
Majority of
size,
them, I
the
mean.
size wise won't, but your weight will be different. The only thing that would be comparable would be if the fire department's aerial truck or something. What you're going to run into here, though, is going to be the frequency, the amount of traffic that's going to go through. I mean, right, right.
Well, one of the things I was going to say with Torrance is they don't have school on Wednesday. They will be out of school by mid-May typically with the preschool. I think they usually get out a little earlier too. So, I mean, this is going to be a few weeks of situation. I mean, I don't know when they're going to plan on starting, but you said they're starting to plan on spring. So then
Yeah.
on 17th after that, once they get out of school, that's a pretty open space.
Right. And you will, something else I thought about, you have the City of Christmas, you have different events in the park. So when we say till November, I would think that their project will be winding down by November. So the traffic should lighten up by then. Like I said, I just want the council to be aware that this will impact the roads. I mean, you'll have damage on River Road. You're going to have damage on whatever street they go down. And 17th will see more damage than 13th Street will. I can guarantee you that you will see.
Yeah, they can't barge them because I'm sure the Burlington Northern wouldn't let you go over their tracks.
Yeah, well, and you don't even have, I don't think the water is even deep enough there to
Deep
allow them to
enough.
get up to there. Like I said, this is a major project for them. But I feel as long as the city puts enough wording into an agreement that covers
Where are they coming from?
that, I cannot tell you where they're coming from. And I asked that question, but until the contractor is awarded the project, that's what'll dictate it. I don't know if they're coming from the north. I don't know how they'll come in. Same way, at some point, there's going to be a lot of spoil that's going to be taken out of this site. That language needs to be put in there also. We put it in on the last one that, we're giving them a truck route where they have to go to that project, but we also are going to control where they're going to get rid of that, get rid of the dirt somewhere they're going to have to dump. And so that needs to be stipulated in this agreement. So ITC, I will say, this first phase that we worked with them on, I have no issues with them. Everything that they said that they would do, they did. Like I said, it needs input from the council so that you're going to catch some feedback from it. It's guaranteed. So maybe by the next council meeting, you could give staff, your projection on what you think, and we go from there. And on another note, so Hazelhurst, I've spoke with Councilperson Greenwald several times on this. We're waiting on a check for the road repair from ITC. And so it will not be a patch job. They are going to overlay Hazelhurst with 2.5 inches of asphalt from Middle Road down to the curve. So the straight shot, if you kind of visualize that, it won't be coming in and taking a little out here and a little out there. They have not given me a date when the contractor thinks they'll start, but I would anticipate it would be late spring or early summer that we would be on their list and get in there to do that. So once we have the money from ITC, then an agreement will be signed with the asphalt company, but that's the projection of how we're going to do that. So that's, in my opinion, that's a pretty good trade-off. I know the people out there are going to have to deal with a little bit of a rough road throughout the winter, but if they look at the end result, it should be worth the wait.
Anything else? All right.
Thank you.
All right. So what I've got is hospital and EMS. Mayor Mahoney and I continue to keep in contact with Blessing on a possible sale of the hospital to another provider. Blessing has indicated that they are still in contact with at least 2 providers, and we hope to hear something from them soon on any possibilities. ADM, staff continues to monitor ADM's cleanup of waste from the plant. Contacts at the IDNR have indicated that ADM will not meet the October date for full cleanup due to lack of sites to apply or deliver waste. Staff will be working with IDNR to ensure that the site is fully cleaned up. Staff also continues to work with ADM on final fines and costs related to ADM's permit violations prior to shutdown. South 18th Street, Mayor Mahoney and I met with a staff member from Representative Miller Meek's office regarding the earmark funding for South 18th. He indicated that Congress has passed a continuing resolution until December. At that time, Congress will pass the budget with the earmark or pass another continuing resolution. Should Representative Miller Meeks lose the upcoming election and a continuing resolution passes in December, the earmark could be removed by Miller Meeks' opponent. However, the mayor and I believe this would not occur as her opponent has been a strong supporter of the project as well. All I've got.
I have a question. I feel bad I didn't call these people today, and I don't know if Gabe knows. Do we know if we have a certain landing sites? Have they picked the landing sites for air care? Do you know, Gabe?
They have not responded to me yet, but I know
David?
they've been landing in those locations
Cole hasn't
we've
heard?
No,
identified.
I haven't got anything back either. I know that they have been landing at the ballpark.
They've been landing at the cul-de-sac there at Hampton Inn also.
Where at?
The cul-de-sac up by Great River.
Great River. And then I know they've been
But they
at
never
Tumulty a
mentioned-
couple times, so.
Yeah, they've never mentioned whether they were approved or not. They're just kind of doing
Okay.
it. So.
Yeah.
I just wondered, we hadn't heard anything back, and I didn't know if you had, Gabe. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, any more staff reports? Item number 17, new business. Item number 18, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, take 5 minutes, guys, and we'll meet back here, and we have just a couple items on the workshop. Okay. I wish somebody, great big guy that weighs 500 pounds would pick me up and go like this. It'd break my back. No, really, but I wish. I'm gonna make my husband crack it. Okay, I better use an ink pen. Oops.
Leave it on.
I need to go home. Amy, you already signed, so it's gotta go that way. That's good, you don't have to. She should have done that during whatever. He's telling me that or you? Didn't have- Okay, people.
You should be able to see over the top of them. That's all they are, but that bluff.
Okay, we're going to call to order the council workshop, November 3rd, 2022. First item on the agenda is discussion of franchise fee rebate policy.
So as part of the revised franchise fee ordinance for electric, the council wanted to look at the rebate process. So what I have done is basically copied and modified the rebate policy that the city of Dubuque uses. And the way that works is every firm that would be exempt under 423, I think it's 423. I don't have the exact code here, but that would be exempt from sales tax for manufacturing or anything else, can request a rebate from that would take their franchise fee from 3% to 1.5%. And everybody would have to fill out the rebate request form in the Excel format, and then we would have that posted on the webpage. We can send it to anybody that requests it, so they have it on their computer. The rebate form must indicate the customer's contact name and phone number. The rebate form must be may be submitted electronically, so they can scan it with all of the electric bills, because the next requirement is electric utilities bills must be attached to the rebate form in their entirety, which means all pages, and must be legible and indicate sales tax exempt percentage. Request must be submitted to the city finance department can be done on a quarterly, semi-annual, or annual basis. I had previously said that it would be done on a monthly basis, but I was reminded by Alliant that they only send their franchise fees quarterly. So if we matched up quarterly, we're not running into a situation where we take too much cash out of the bank in order to do this on a monthly basis. So the rebates would be done on quarterly, semi-annual, or annual basis. Requests for rebates must be submitted during the fiscal year in which the franchise fees were paid, except for the month of June. The city's fiscal year is July 1st to June 30th. Requests for rebates of franchise fees paid in June must be received by the city no later than 30 days after the end of the fiscal year. So that way, what it is we're not, because the way we do our books, we're not sending a lot of money out at the end of the year that we wouldn't normally have accounted for. And a customer may not receive more than 12 months rebates for any city fiscal year. So, they pay their bill monthly. They get 12 months of rebates, and that's it. So if you happen to, if they happen to miss a month, they don't get to make it up in the next fiscal year. And then I provided an example of the rebate form. I have checked the calculations. So there's the example here. On one account, it shows an 80% exemption rate. So the amount of franchise fee was $3,000. I've calculated out that you take 3,000 times 80%, and it's basically divide it by 2 at this point, because you get half of it back, and it came out correctly. And then like on the second example, it's at 100%. And so again, it just, at that point, takes it 4,700 times 1 divided by 2, and then gives you a total down at the end. I just wanted to be able to present that. What it is once we pass the ordinance, then the policy would be passed as a resolution. And then I would start disseminating the request form out and getting notifications to as many people as I can find that are tax exempt, because I can't get a list out of Alliant of customers.
So we're not sure at this point if there are any businesses or companies that wouldn't be able to get this rebate?
They have to be exempt under Iowa code in order to receive it. So there's somebody like, so let's just say, Walmart is probably not tax exempt for the electric usage, so they would not be able to do this. However, if there's a company that's using a portion or all of their electricity for manufacturing, then that company can apply for a rebate. This will also apply to government buildings. So the county can apply for a rebate on their franchise fee.
Can residential request a rebate?
No. Residential would not be allowed. It would have to be an electric customer that would have all or a portion of their electric fees be tax exempt.
Sorry, can you provide us a list of those before the
No,
next?
I cannot because Alliant will not give me a list of who is tax exempt.
But there's in code, it states what
Oh,
industries.
yes. Oh, you mean out of state code?
Yeah, at the state
Yeah,
code, can you
yeah,
give me the state code so
What
then
what
we
I will,
know?
what I will do is because it's quite lengthy.
Yeah.
I will send out the code section to everybody, and then all you got to do is Google that Iowa code section, whatever, and then you can read through it. Because, like I said, when I went to read it, there were pages and pages of exemptions. So
Has this rebate form been sent to like Ameren, for example, since there's a representative here? Have they seen an example of this?
have they seen any of the example of this? No, they have not.
How does this?
Would it be, sorry, go ahead.
No.
Would it be possible though to get input from them, like to have her look at the rebate form and tell us if that's okay with them?
I can send it out to my industry list that I have.
I'd like to get just some opinions from like businesses on whether or not it's too much work for them, I guess, for example, because I don't want anybody to jump through hoops for this.
I don't think that, I mean, for the rebate amount, they're going to be willing to send in the bill.
Okay.
I feel like if the rebate's not worth it, then they won't send it in.
Have you provided the information as to when we do implement this rebating process, how that impacts what we will collect off the franchise fee?
Yeah, I've made those calculations.
Okay. And where are they? So I can find, I'm sorry, I'm new.
I presented them at the last meeting. If you wanted to come up afterwards, I'll give you the sheet.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Any more questions?
I just have a couple clarifying questions, I guess. So you're saying it would go for, everybody would be at 3% and you would rebate it back to 1.5%
Correct.
for is it 3%? Is that non-production usage or is it 1% of all usage?
It's 3% on all usage, and then you can request a rebate on those portions that would be tax exempt.
So at the end of the day, we would be paying 1.5% on non-production usage?
Correct.
Okay.
And you'd be paying 1.5% on production as well.
We would.
Yes.
So non-production would be 3%.
Well, okay, yeah, non-production would be 3%, production would be 1.5%.
So it would be what we're currently paying right now?
Correct.
Which is still a significant increase over what we were paying with the local option sales tax then. Okay. And then, so you say you would want our electric bill submitted, invoices. Would those be subject to public information, or who would have access to those, I guess?
If we received a FOIA request, they would be subject to public information.
Okay. That's the only two things that I needed clarification on. Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, so when you guys came in tonight, I handed out your evaluation packet for Cole's evaluation. And Shelley has a request.
Yeah, I just wanted everyone to sort of look at it and see if you had any clarifying questions on any of the questions within the packet so that we were on the same page. So that was just one of my things. I just wanted everyone to look at it, and if they had any questions that we could make sure that they were clarified. I know the mayor and Celeste, I think, did a good job of putting the questions together after I looked at it, but I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't any questions.
So do we want to go through it like each question, or do you just want everybody just to look and see, or what do we
I was
want to
gonna,
do here?
I feel fine if everybody just looks at it quickly, and then if they do have a clarifying question, they can raise it. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't any.
Okay.
Can you clarify what you mean by bedside manner?
I do that? Yes. Or
You're-
do you want everybody to put in, or do you want me to?
Well, you were the one that put it together, so that's why I asked
Yes.
you.
I think bedside manner is how you treat each other, or how you respond to, or how you make a person feel when you're speaking to them.
Thank you.
If we have a question on here, like after question 8, where you're comparing this year to past year, and I don't have anything to compare that to, do you want me to still answer it, or do you have like a preferred approach to that for us?
So you said question 8, I can't hardly
It's
hear.
right after question 8, where you're supposed to compare previous years, and I don't have anything compared to that. So for newer people, do you want us to not answer it, or what do you think?
You can do either one you want. You can leave it blank if you don't feel you can answer it appropriately, or you can look at the 3 examples and see if there's something that has happened in this past year that you've been here,
Okay. That would work.
and make that comment. But you can do either way you want, and if you don't feel like you have the knowledge or the history to answer it, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
I think also that they have all the past employment agreements with any sort of request from the prior council as to what should be done over the following year.
Anybody?
Thank you for entertaining me.
No problem. Just so y'all know too, and I know it's specified in this front sheet, but needs to be in my office on time or it won't be considered.
And when is that?
It says right on there, Thursday, November 17th, 2022, which will be a council meeting, and you can bring them to the council meeting if you want, or before that. You are actual, you can call me, and Celeste and I will meet with you if you have any further questions. But this is going out tonight, and then the next council meeting, it will need to be turned in, and on the first council meeting in December, we will have a discussion over what the scoring is.
I have a question. Could you have Celeste email a Microsoft document for those of us who'd rather type it up versus write?
Sure, we
Thank
can
you.
do that. Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
no problem.
I type much faster than I write.
Okay.
And you might not be able to read it if I did.
Any other questions, guys? Then I think we can all go home.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for that question, Carissa. It made me feel like I wasn't an idiot for asking. Yeah.
You're out.